Here we go. Clip number 1.
Мы наносим удары по Украине. Посмотрите, впечатляет. Видите, что происходит, да? То есть вся территория Украины под ударом. При этом мы бьем. А что новенького? Мы бьем не только по всяким подстанциям, там, ТЭЦ там, и так далее, и так далее. Мы начали бить еще и по газовой инфраструктуре, насколько я понимаю. Это уже очевидно, что это линия. Эта линия, там понятно, к чему она может привести Украину.
So, look at the great map of our destruction. What's your thoughts as a Ukrainian when you see that happening up in Moscow above you?
Okay, they call it's impressive.
Yes.
Like they're proud of it. There is excitement. He calls, we conducting strikes against of Ukraine. He said it with, being proud. We are doing that. There is nothing we hide. This is our nation. The second, he says, it's all territory on the strikes. They're happy now it's open. It's nothing about Donetsk, nothing about referendums, nothing about Lugansk, nothing about Crimea, nothing about protecting Russian talking people. He openly says, we are, all territory of Ukraine are the strikes.
You know what's coming next is what he was saying there. You know what's coming next, Ukraine. And like you said, the word is what he said. It was, look how impressive this is. I mean, impressive is when you're watching if you're a sports fan and a football player does a great day, you go, man, that was impressive. And you're supposed to marvel at it and go, wow, that was incredible. These guys are saying we're putting a nation into cold, into hunger, into genocide. Man, isn't it impressive what we're doing? It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, clip 2. Here you go. Clip 2.
Okay.
Возмездие, именно удары возмездия, именно вот такое проявление нашей ненависти, абсолютно святой ненависти. Они будут сидеть и без газа, и без света, и без всего. Потому что если киевский режим выбрал для себя путь военных преступников, они должны там и замерзнуть, и сгнить. В этом формате.
Обычные люди должны сгнить и мерзнуть.
Обычные люди должны выйти на улицы и наконец-то закончить это правление нацистского режима Зеленского.
Before you respond, first of all, that guy's probably 30 years old. So this is not always about these 60 and 70 and 80-year-olds that are glorious back in the days of the Soviet Union. That was obviously, sorry, brother, but he had some education. He was articulate. He was on television. He's probably about 30 years old. He was a good speaker. He was dynamic. And basically, Kiev's the regime. Zelensky's the master Nazi. And let them rot. This is our holy hatred.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to add. He calls it retaliatory. Yes. He says it's like we're paying back. This is like now we punishing them. Like
no, well, retaliatory.
For? He says yes.
Retaliatory. You were right the first time in the English. It means we're paying you back for something that you did to us first. So I have a question for you. What did you do to them? What did you do? What did Ukraine do?
Oh, we didn't want to be in the union of Putin.
And that's the answer.
Yes.
That's it.
We didn't want to be with Belarus, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. We didn't want. We said no to USSR. Never more. That's it.
That
then
is
he said openly, expression of our hatred. It's a holy war. Against the what? Against the what?
I know.
Let's check. The Putin's speech on we start our military special operation against a what? Now he says it's a holy war, and he says the Kiev regime choose a path of war criminals.
I know.
Kiev's regime choosing the path of war criminals. How? We touched no one. We wanted to be with the NATO. Why? Because we already proved we gave out to Russia our nuclear weapon. And what he calls, we're choosing a path of war criminals, giving our nuclear weapon.
Let's see.
Understand?
Ukraine sitting in the middle, and that big, very resourceful, wealthy nation, bright people. Let's see. We have two choices. We can go with those guys in Moscow with that madness, or let's join the civilized West with the European Union and have relationships with nations and be a part of making our world better. That's it. That's the retaliation. All right, here you go. Clip number 3.
Такое же состояние мы наблюдали, когда в концлагере идут туда в газовые печи, и ни восстания нет никакого. Казалось бы, все, надо восстание, подавлены по большому счету.
Но это синдром жертвы. Бунты где тогда, Владимир Николаевич? Не видим бунтов. Более того, говорят, что рейтинги этого товарища в маечке, если верить, по крайней мере, киевским опросам,
Во
вполне себе
время
очень
военного
высокие.
конфликта не верьте никакой социологии. Я вас умоляю. Мы должны говорить, кто виновник этого, а не так все списывать на Россию. Россия вынуждена сегодня принимать меры, потому что вот эту недельку что-то происходит, что нет, говорит об одном. Какие-то попытки переговоров. Видите, Запад уже начал помягче.
То есть вы склоняетесь к тому, что наши удары это все-таки принуждение к миру, да?
Да, к переговорам.
Ага.
А вот результат переговоров может быть разным.
А почему
Это
не
вопрос
ударили по
территории.
Херсону, когда туда приезжал Зеленский и там бродил?
Знаете, есть общее правило, я, вероятно, думаю, надо
Да.
адресовать высоким, так сказать, руководителям, где президент, это надо адресовать.
Не, ну
Хотя
такие
бы
удары
есть-
просто в тот самый момент,
Ну,
может быть, они дали бы тот
мы
эффект,
же
про который
понимаем,
вы
что
говорите.
такое решение не принимает сержант, да?
Ага.
А мы ведем разговор о том, что если бы такое решение было оформлено, что террористами надо не государство объявлять, а организации людей.
That guy down there running around in the t-shirt, of course, that's referring to President Zelensky. And, where are the revolts in the people? Why aren't they revolting?
Yeah.
And
Because they don't have revolts. They want to see revolts. And this is an inside dream because, all the revolts in Russia, it's just a name.
oh, by the way, the West is softening. They're softening. And, we strike for 1 week and then we take a week off because we really care about them. And hopefully during that week, we'll negotiate. And they said clearly, so we're going to negotiate. We're going to use strikes and destroying Ukraine to force negotiations. It's their strategy. It's not going to work.
Okay. Good question he asks. He says, who is at fault for all of this? Who? No, nobody knows. The world doesn't know. And if 100% of people doesn't know, there's one reason, the only one reason for that. It's a propaganda power in all of these nations. It's propaganda money in all of these nations. This is the only reason why people can, be separately divided. Because Russia attacked Ukraine. War is on Ukrainian territory. Yes, publicly, the Russian media says we are bombing them. Let's kill all of them. And this is, and now the question, how it's possible? It's just but it needs to be with that kind of watching this and thinking, oh, we don't know who is right. Okay, it's the same that watching Hitler and says, hey, he was hugging a boy. Probably he's a good man.
Exactly. Let me help people out right now.
Yes.
We have people watch from all over the world, many different nations. So, I'm an American. Zhenya's a Ukrainian, but there's many people in here that support this stream and this effort from multiple nations, and we thank you. So right there where you're sitting right now, think about your news source of choice in your country. Okay. In America, you know, you've got Fox, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, Newsmax, all these organizations. Just whichever one you like, that's your prerogative. Now, in foreign countries, think about your news agencies. You guys there in Germany, DW, Australia, Sky News, okay, whatever. Now, imagine you turned on your 8 o'clock news and you're looking to the commentators and government representatives. Some of those guys that you're watching tonight are government representatives. They're not all just journalists. And your guys in your country started spewing, oh, look at our map, how much we've destroyed this nation. We're going to keep bombing them. We're going to destroy them. Hey, when their president was walking around in Kherson, why didn't we take him out? Could you imagine, wherever you're at tonight, your local news having a show or a program like that? That is why Kaleba said, this madness has to stop. Virginia, I want to tell you one more thing. I was just traveling down in Virginia for a couple of weeks and going to restaurants, you know, at lunchtime between hunting trips and all this stuff and visiting friends, whatever. Took a break. Brother, many people came up to me because they know what we're doing. They know who I am. And they said, okay, tell me the truth. Forget all the other stuff. Is Zelensky a good guy or a bad guy? I haven't decided yet. And brother, these are good people. Good people. I'm telling you, kind, they're givers, but it's the power of the media. And they came to me and said, I just see a lot of bad things about him. Is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? Whatever you say, I'll trust you. There's millions of people out there that know nothing about the truth, and this is what they see.
It's like, okay, the politic of Putin against of politic of Zelensky. Politic of Zelensky is to fight for the sovereignty of the country, which was internationally confirmed, and the borders, what internationally agreed, we have it, 1991. Putin doesn't like it. Russians, as a nation, doesn't like it. So nobody asked, if all the people around, like the United States, Japan, would start to arguing about the territories of Russia, nobody touching it, because all the respects international law and agreements. And so the question is, politics of Putin. He says, we really want to peace with this country. This is why we're killing their people. We're destroying their infrastructure. And it's nothing about the front line. It's about the people's life. We want for your parents and kids would experience a hell. This is how we love you. And this is how we want for you to talk to us. Because otherwise, it's like there is a criminal and a victim. And the criminal, he takes a gun and he says, okay, tell me you love me. Otherwise, I will shoot you. This is how, it's publicly. Please
look at the next clip.
To their media.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Have you ever heard of a guy named Osama bin Laden?
Yeah.
Зеленский попадает по все признаки террориста. Его, помните, сравнение с Аль-Каидой, Бен Ладеном, точно такая судьба.
I'm sorry, everybody, but, we hear it in the Russian with his inflection, and you're reading the translation. This guy believes what he's saying. You remember Al-Qaeda and Bin Laden? Zelensky's a terrorist just like them, and his fate will be the same. Clip 5.
Вот народ должен подняться, народу страшно. Понимаете? Кто пойдет? Действительно, где эти политики, которые считались пророссийскими? Вы знаете их фамилии, да? Так сказать, не всех же там, они где-то забились, да? Хорошо, может быть, не всех посадили, пусть найдут гражданское мужество какое-то, да? Так сказать, пусть выйдут на улицу. Кто, бабушки эти пойдут под эти автоматы? Это все разговоры ни о чем, что вот сейчас народ поднимется, сметет эту клику, понимаете?
The question is, it's where is this people pro-Russian? You know all of these names.
Where are they at? They're hiding. They need to go out on the streets of Ukraine and tell the truth and stare down the AKs, the grannies. Folks, this is exactly the clips that Dmitry Kuleba, the foreign minister, said this must stop. Because when people see this, they believe this mess.
It could be fun if not the millions of people in Russia and millions of people of out Russia would not watch it and would not believe it. Then it would be a fun, but the reality is not. In all of the countries, we have people who believe, even in Ukraine. There's still some of that. He says, where is this pro-Russian? Why is pro-Russian? Why he is not using, where are these people who respect international laws?
Mm-hmm.
No, he knows, he requests for people who pro-Russian.
Clip 6.
Что они хотят нам предложить? Они хотят, судя по Милли, заморозку. В какой ситуации заморозка?
Это верно.
Что получается? Мы не освободили всю Донецкую область.
Да.
Мы контролируем только половину Запорожской и половину Херсонской. После этого начать вопль. О, Россия слабая и униженная. Она даже не может освободить 3 области. Ха-ха-ха.
Да.
То есть это такой мерзкий троллинг, издевка над нами.
На самом деле ставка у них простая. Ставка элементарная, на самом деле. Они хотят взорвать ситуацию здесь внутри.
Да.
И они считают, что время работает на них. Вот эти вот там наши все отводы наших войск, там еще что, медленное продвижение, о чем говорил Сергей. Это все должно, собственно, им помочь для того, чтобы они победили в психологической войне.
So, first of all, they recognize we can't even get an oblast. That's a fact. And due to that, they think that we're just backing up and you know, they can destroy us from within in the psychological war. But the point being is this. A, they do recognize they can't win the ground war. But this, with them saying their attack is to destroy us from within, that is them reasoning in their minds, in their madness, why we have to destroy infrastructure, power, food, turn the lights off, freeze this nation, because they can't do anything normal in the regions. That guy is bonkers.
He says, what do they want from us? And he says, they want to freeze. I mean, who wants to freeze? Come on. They openly telling right before, we want for that all of them, I mean, to freeze. And now they say they want to freeze. Then the second, okay, they want to freeze what? The situation on the battlefield? No. Check official Minister of Defense, our presidents, all official statements. Everywhere we're saying, no, we don't want to freeze. We don't need negotiation. We want to get back our land. That's it. Doesn't matter what season are. And who is a request for negotiations? And then he says, this man says, Ukrainian really wants to freeze all of that situation. No.
Here's my concern. I really believe they're banking on Ukraine quitting. I really think that's a part of their strategy. And they're trying to manipulate that negotiation by having the West push on Zelensky to say, listen, stop it. But it's not going to happen. Ukraine is not going to give up their ground. And I think what Russia is hoping for is that they do, because they have been defeated on the battlefield, period. Not in the air, but on the battlefield, they've been defeated. And they have been humiliated. And they have been laughed at because they're not the second army in the world, period. They just use terror, and they have an unending supply of missiles. That's it. It's terrorism. So let me play you one final clip, and we'll roll out of here tonight. This has been a great update tonight. Here we go.
Когда инфраструктурные объекты каждый день получают в тыкву, когда гражданское население минимализируется в прямых потерях, но у них невыносимые условия для жизни зимой, и это, конечно же, скорая помощь не ездит, старики умирают, дети. Европа готова принять, создает спортивные залы с обогревом. Но на самом деле, посмотрите, для Зеленского это будет аргумент. Он позвонит Шольцу и скажет: Шольц, а помнишь, ты говорил о том, что ты не признаешь переговоры Украины с Россией? А смотри, у меня население бежит, мы зимовать не можем. А давай к нам, давай вместе поговорим о том, на каких условиях мы готовы подписать капитуляцию де-факто. Слово «капитуляция» должна звучать, его стесняться не надо. На основании именно невыносимых условий для гражданского населения.
Rejoicing in unbearable conditions, the eliminating of old people and children, and this is their plan to force the negotiation. Very simple. He says it clear right there.
I think just this a minute of this, or a couple seconds of it, just to this one statement, if we will, put aside everything we heard before, just this statement, the ambulances we are making, Russians are making, ambulances are not working. And old people and children are dying. And he says, this is what we are doing. And he naming nothing about military. He says, ambulances are not working, old people dying, children dying because our strikes, Russian strikes, he says. And he says, it's normal. And then he turns, okay, here's the Europe, forget about all this. Just this statement is enough to understand who are they and what kind of nation they have. It's normal for them to destroy, making ambulances not working, old people and kids dying, and he's nothing back. He says it's nothing back. It's impressive, he says. They do statement. Mm-hmm. It's impressive, meaning the good side. We are happy. We're doing it. That's
and he said at the beginning, it was translated, hit him on the pumpkin, meaning hit him right in the head. But here's the deal.
The face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hit him in the face. Mm-hmm. Your analysis right there is spot on. And what they're hoping for is a capitulation to force the negotiations and a complete change in this war. But if the world will just listen, if there's any humanity out there at all, when a nation will say, look, your ambulances aren't working, your old people and children are dying, you cannot negotiate with that nation. Period. That mentality has and must be defeated. Isolated is the word we said earlier. So,
mm-hmm.
All right, my man, that was fun. It's not fun, but it was interesting. Better word choice there. Interesting. Give a little analysis on that. And these are the exact statements that Kaleba was referring to. Tell the world that this must stop. So, all right, we'll get you some rest. Yeah.
One thought. This is reality. Everybody can check these facts. This is these statements, this video, this is the Russian TV. And if you want to check if it's mistake on Russian TV, then probably, during the hour or day, it will be the hundreds of apologizes. This was the wrong people, but you will not see it. And this effect will prove you one more time that this is not just mistake. It's official politic of Russia. You may check it.
Let me ask you one question before we tell everybody good night. I think I speak pretty good Russian for being an American. Okay? I can get along just fine. But for you, is your Russian abilities basically high level to perfect?
To be honest,
It's a yes or no question.
11, yes.
Okay.
It means 11 classes of school, I didn't have Ukrainian language. The lessons, everything was in Russian.
Your native language is Russian. Sorry, but it was. You learned in Russian first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as we close out tonight, we showed a lot of video clips. Did we have any mistakes in the translation?
No.
No.
It was good.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. What you read on the translation was accurate.